to increase. Why? Does anybody know why we take CO2 measurements in Hawaii?
Because of volcanoes?
This is beautiful, right? It's the vacation zone. No.
Volcano?
No? Dr. Cho, why do we do the CO2 measurements for the world based in Hawaii?
Is there something about that particular mountain? Oh, is it?
I mean, it's between everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like isolated, kind of, I guess.
Okay. I thought there was something about the atmosphere on that particular mountain, but I don't know what it would be.
I thought that would have been Australia.
Why
Australia
Hawaii?
has the thing.
You got an idea of why Hawaii?
Closer to the equator?
Okay. Bingo. There's nobody. You're in the middle of a giant ocean where there is nobody. What's the CO2 level in this room?
High.
Probably about 5,000 ppm. What's the CO2 level in a major city? Probably 1,000 ppm. But the world CO2 level is 400 because you have the mixing, the Coriolis effects, right? So what you need is a location that's actually usable for world means. And so we do it in Hawaii. So when we look at data and we start saying, okay, what's happening with the climate? This data starts telling you extreme deviations. Okay, so every year you keep, in your lifetime, you keep hearing, oh, that was the hottest day ever. Well, how many hottest days ever can you have? Turns out more and more. Okay, these are the extremes. So some history. People figured out greenhouse gases really early on, 30s, 40s. By the 1950s and early 60s, the major gas and petroleum companies had their scientists on staff figured it out. They knew everything. They knew what was happening. How Shell and Chevron and Texaco all figured out in the 60s. And they were like, okay, well, what's going to happen? And so we can start making predictions. And this is exactly what is happening. So I'd like you to talk to each other. What are some socio-economic consequences of climate change? So let's be human-centric for a few minutes. What are some consequences to us humans?
You're being selfish. I mean, they want to make money, they don't tell people. That's what happened in the NFL.
Oh, yeah, with concussions?
With CTE. They were like, oh, but I want to make money, so I'm not going to tell people. I don't know. Capitalist mindset.
Mar, do you ever post these anywhere? Or would
Do
you
I
be able to
post-
send it to me or something? Today's
For
lecture?
today? Yeah, there's a little separate ones.
There's what? There's bunches.
Yeah, but you know what? I think he gets a better video than I do.
Who videos it?
I'll send you mine too. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
That would be cool. Thank you.
All right.
And if he sends me one, I'll send it.
Okay,
Economics
perfect. Thank you.
of climate change. Yeah. How many of you have an AC unit? Of those that have AC units, when did you get your AC unit? There we go. 5 years ago, 98% of Washington residents did not have AC units. I had mine installed last year. You guys had yours installed last year. Why did we install them? Getting hotter. We, from the article. Never mind.
Oh, I should.
Costs money, though.
What's happening to our power grid?
It's
It's
deteriorating.
deteriorating. It's getting taxed. We have more renewables than anywhere here in Washington. We have a lot of hydroelectric. And do we have a positive supply of electricity, or are we running a deficit? We're running a deficit in Washington. Over the next 10 years, will there be more or fewer people in Washington? More. How many more? A lot more. About 1 to 2 million more people. Ooh, shit. That sucks. And I don't want to be this guy. How many of you are transplants? Not born here. Not born in this state. Please leave. Move back to California, wherever you came from. Okay? You're all Texas and California or wherever. Move back. No. Why do we have the people moving here? It's not as hot. You have water. Water is really important. Fresh water, not as hot. If you've been to Arizona, what's it like in the summertime in Arizona? Horrible. You're not doing anything between the hours of 7 in the morning and 7 at night. You're inside because it's too hot in the summertime otherwise. LA, you're in smog and smoke advisories all day. It's too hot. Well, what's happening here? Same thing. Except for our air pollution is decreasing. Yay! Where's it going? No, where's our air pollution going? Look at America. We're doing wonderful. Look at our pollution. It's going here. We've sent it over to the Western Pacific. Why?
We don't want it.
We don't want to make what? Anything. We're not a producer country anymore. We're a consumer country. So this is a bias. This is not what we are. We're not producing the air pollution. So we have good air here. But where's the bad air? There. Southeast Asia. China, India, South Pacific, the Philippines. Because all of our industry has moved there. So as we become wealthier, we've offshored our climate problems. We've offshored our stuff. So our smog has gone down. That's a good thing. When I was a kid, Western Washington here would be smoggy most days of the week. Seeing Mount Rainier, the mountains would be a very rare day. That's because what used to exist up and down the I-5 corridor. Industries. This used to be all the mills used to be here. All of the manufacturing. Where's all that now? Southeast Asia.
I'm not understanding the map because Western Pacific is high in pollution, or
Yeah.
isn't
We
this
have
the Western
no
Pacific?
pollution. All of the pollution is in Asia. Western Pacific is Asia.
Oh, thank you.
You are on the Eastern
Yeah.
Pacific.
Thank you.
We're on the west coast of the United States, which is the east side of the
Yes,
Pacific.
thank you.
There you go. Effects of basically pollution of carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. Unlikely anyone in this room will die from it. Just be honest, you're too rich to be affected. You have one of the best healthcare systems in the world.
No,
It's
you're
unlikely.
going to sleep at reasonable time.
Yeah. How many of you live within 1 mile of a freeway? Most of you live within 1 mile of a freeway. What happens to your life expectancy?
Goes down
Anybody know why?
because you're right there next to the
Pollution?
of all the emissions getting broken off.
I would love if it was just CO2.
Noise?
It's not noise.
No.
So, how many of you had to replace tires on your car before? Cool. Why have you had to replace tires on your car? Wear and tear. What do you mean by wear and tear?
The rubber.
As you drive down the freeway, your tires get eaten up because of the friction at aerosols. Literally, about 1 mile from the freeway in each direction is a cloud of tire particles. And on top of that is asbestos from the brake systems of your car. So if you live within that, that is causes most cancers. The University of Washington's female soccer coach started making an observation that girls soccer players, especially goalies, get high rates of cancers. Does anybody know this story? Yeah. It's the turf. What do we make AstroTurf out of? Used tires. So when you recycle your tires, they grind them up into pellets and they sell them to schools to build AstroTurf. So it turns out when you dive into it, especially goalies, when they dive into it, they're inhaling the AstroTurf, which is inhaling rubber tires, and you get cancer. Well, if you live within 1 mile of a freeway, your chance of cancer goes way up.
Is that the same with like playgrounds that use like the rubber?
100%. Yeah. We're literally killing our kids. Okay. The worst part about all this, we're talking socioeconomics, we're talking literally CLO3 from this college, right? The equity aspect of it. You all know this information. Yet is any of our behavior going to change? No. But we're going to know the information. The thing that's going to hit you in the pocketbook real hard is this. Many of you probably are not old enough to have house insurance yet. Anybody know what's happened to housing insurance lately? Way up. Mine doubled over the last 2 years.
They can't get insurance in Miami.
You can't even get insurance in Florida and Miami.
I mean, Florida.
For a lot of places. Condos. 10 years ago in Miami were going for huge sums of money. Now you can't even give them away. Because no one wants anything in an area that's going to be destroyed repeatedly. All right, got a question for you. With that, let's hit down this socioeconomics. What happened during Hurricane Katrina? Anybody remember Hurricane Katrina?
New Orleans got completely destroyed.
New Orleans got completely destroyed. I have to ask that question because there are people who don't know what 9/11 is. Remember, we have people in here who were born in like 2009 probably. 6. Don't argue. 8, 9 doesn't matter. It's too young. Gross. Okay. Gross. Like every year, it just gets weirder. Like I look at you guys, I'm like, so little. Like I don't get it. Anyway. Okay. New Orleans gets completely destroyed. Could we have predicted that?
Yeah.
Yes. What should we have rebuilt New Orleans afterwards? Talk to each other. Go through that one. That's a hard question.
What was the question?
Should we have rebuilt New Orleans after Katrina?
Never rebuild anything in the valley.
You know what happened in Katrina? What killed the people? What do you think killed the people?
The hospitals didn't have powers? I don't know.
The hurricane? You think? Okay. Well, the hurricane had passed, and everything was fine. And the people went out and did their lives, and the levee broke, and the water came in, and that's what killed the people. Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
What year was it?
I don't know.
2005. Because I had a classmate whose name was Katrina, spelled the exact same name.
I have a prediction.
And my parents were just
Sometime in the next 20 years, New Orleans will be destroyed again. Okay? Should we have rebuilt New Orleans?
No.
So all of you said no. You said yes. Okay, tell me why yes.
Well, I was just saying, since I seen the news, it looks like New Orleans hasn't been hit as hard since it's been like in other areas.
It was only been 15 years.
Okay.
100-year storm starts happening every decade. That's a problem. Beautiful. That's people's homes. That's livelihood. That's their people. It's their culture. You are sitting in an isolated area. So who are the people of New Orleans? What's their demographics?
Creole,
Creole. What does that mean?
which is
Okay, yeah.
Means what?
It's a component of French, American, African culture, okay? It's a very unique location on the planet.
yeah. So we should.
So if you forced relocated them, because you said we shouldn't rebuild it, so we are forced relocating, that's never gone badly before. Especially when you have a forced relocation of a minority population. So who's going to get affected with these things? Is it going to be the people of wealth? No. It's going to be poor people, people of minority descent, people who are your most vulnerable population. So imagine this, put yourself in their shoes for a second. For no fault of your own, your house gets destroyed. You have two options: forced relocation, You lose your culture, you lose your identity, you lose your people, or you get rebuilt there. But we don't give you every dollar to rebuild. We'll give you about 50%. So what happens to your equity, your wealth? Goes down. And so now you start rebuilding. You make it 15 damn years. And a 100-year storm hits you again. What happens to your wealth and equity? It goes down. So you have this perpetual cycle of poverty. This is what's going to happen across these populations that are going to get devastated by natural disaster after natural disaster after natural disaster, and now they cannot get insurance. So now where they were getting 50% to recover, they're going to get 5% or 10%, whatever the federal disaster funds are. So it was so, the negative here is it was so easy for us immediately to say forced relocation. Because we want them to have the best, right? We want to get them out of that location. But when you take them out of that location, what have you done? You've taken it out of their home. You've destroyed their identity at the same thing. So is there a benefit to them being there? Yes. It's their culture, their identity, their people, their livelihood. So what do? Do we build them up? Can we hurricane-proof our cities? Yes. I guarantee you, if Seattle were to be hit by a hurricane, what would we immediately do? Hurricane-proof it. How would we hurricane-proof it? With money. Do you know whose money?
Our money.
Our money. This is a rich location. So none of you are likely going to die from a hurricane or from major climate change issues. But people you know will. Cultures will. People in Bangladesh is gone. Okay? They're just not going to survive sea level rises. Whole island nations are going to be gone. Several island nations have already started relocating because they know their islands are going to be taken away. So all of these things start coming back down to what's the cost. Okay? So let's take a moment, debrief, talk about the socioeconomics, the aspects of climate change. So debrief. What did we just do?
He mostly said, we know all this, but none of it's going to change, so what?
He said, don't go work, but then it's only going to get worse for them.
Yeah. I think he's going to open up another question and go to the bathroom. I'll bring it.
How many exams do you have?
I had 2 final papers, and then I have this exam on Friday, and then I have 2 online exams next week. Let's all go and get chicken.
Do you feel strong in all the OCHEM subjects? Or?
Most of them. Just one, but I'm not sure.
I'm like acids and bases is the one that I'm like, ugh.
I'll have to go over it. But other than that, I should be fine. I'm going to study starting.
Let's move beyond just us with climate change. So, the 6th great extinction. We've heard about this. The math says what? We're heading into an extinction.